Good evening. Today is I'm R. Lakshmi, Government Degree College, Hyderabad, the lecturer of English. Today's video recording is for its semester 4 degree second year syllabus. Today's video class is about relative clauses. In the previous unit, I have completed the book review, the film review, review writing, how to write and what steps have to be followed, and how we have to be aware of a specific vocabulary in a field when we are doing a specific work we are writing about a particular genre. That can be film, that can be book review, that can be doctor's field. So one has to be very familiar with a specific vocabulary that is needed to write in that particular field. So today I will do the relative clauses in the part of grammar. The relative clauses are generally clause and phrase. We always use these words to convey some meaning, but both have different structure of the sentence or the different syntax. Phrase can be any group of words, whereas clause will follow a subject and verb of its own. It is a kind of independent sentence or dependent sentence. Then only we say that it is a clause. So here we are talking about the relative clauses. So the very first sentence, the writer gives the example, I might be tempted to envy people who can live that way. Who can live that way? WH form. Here, if we look at the sentence, refers back to the beginning part of the sentence. That is, I might be tempted to envy people who can live that way. Who refers to the people whom the writer wants to say. Similarly, it will not only be your proud families who celebrate your existence. So, again, who refers to the beginning part of the sentence. So what the explanation writer has given is the underlined parts add descriptive information about the nouns, that is people and families that precede them. So these are known as the relative clauses. These dependent clauses specify which people or what kind of people the speaker is referring to. So we say it is relating to the beginning part of the sentence to which the writer wants to convey. So we say that it is a relative clause. Now here again the writer gives some example of the same type. But before I read those examples, I would like to say about the remaining part of the sentence of the text, in which it is said about the relative pronouns. What is a relative pronoun? Relative pronouns perform two functions like other pronouns. They refer to a noun, a person or a thing that has already been mentioned. And also they join two clauses together. For example, the film is about a girl. The girl overcomes many obstacles in her life. So the girl refers to the beginning part of the sentence. The film is about a girl. The film is about a girl who overcomes obstacles in her life. So here who refers to the girl. Whereas in the first sentence here the girl refers to the film. So that is noun being referred to the film. So it is a pronoun clause because substituted with the making use of the girl. And in the second sentence, again, we are referring to a pronoun, a girl, who refers to that pronoun. So again, it is a pronoun. So this is how we say that it is a pronoun relative clause. But then the writer says that there are who and whom always refers to the, we use who and whom always in the formal and written English. And whose is always referred to mention or show the possession or the ownership of a particular thing. We make use of whose. For example, I have never seen a plant whose flowers change color. I have never seen a plant whose flowers change color. Then we have invited only those scholars whose work is relevant to the project. Whose. It shows the possessiveness in these sentences. This is the NGO whose performance was praised by the Prime Minister. So, whose again refers to the NGO. Then WH, which form is always used as a reference to the subject where it is an object of the class. For example, my grandfather has a camera which was manufactured in 1906, which refers to the camera. Then we use TH form, that is that form, which talks about the subject and the object of the class. For example, I saw something that was round with many colored feathers on it. I saw something that was round with many colored feathers on it. Where is the pen that I gave you in the morning? So this refers to the things in person. So it is said to be the pronoun clause. And it is relative pronoun. So many examples are given with which and that. Who, whom conveys the same meaning. Whose conveys the possessiveness. Which is relatively used for the things in person, and so also that is also used for the things as well as in person to a particular object. Then we say, then we have to know about the relative adverbs. Relative adverbs are WH forms: when, where, they. When, where, why. Generally, it talks about the mannerism, or it refers to a particular place, or it can be about a particular time. So we make use of when, where, they. When we use when after time or words such as day or year, as I said. So the example is, do you remember the day when you first entered college? When means it refers to the period of time. So we say that it is a relatively adverbs. Then where. We use where after place or words, room, street, town, country, etc. For example, I want to see the hospital where I was born. Where refers to the place where I was born. Then we use why after a particular reason. For example, tell me why you came late to the interview. Why? That has a particular reason. So we say that this is a adverb clause. Adverb clause. Generally, if we are familiar with the adverbs talk about 8 particular things which are mannerism, referring to the time, referring to the place, referring to the conditions. So all these things, when if we can remember, the same things are in the form of sentences where it also functions as a relative clauses. Then the writer gives the example of defining and non-defining clauses. Defining are those which a person is very much sure about what the person is talking about. For example, the defining relative clause provides essential information, whereas a non-defining relative clause supplies extra information. A non-defining relative clause gives additional information that can be adjunct of a sentence actually about the person or thing that we are talking about. The information is not necessary to identify that person or thing. So we give extra information. So a non-defining relative clause is usually separated from the rest of the sentence by a comma or many commas. So that even if that is added or if it is excluded, then also the sentence remains the same. For example, if we remove the relative clause, who won the first prize in the singing competition, the sentence is incomplete. That's the girl. Therefore, the relative clause who won the first prize in the singing competition is essential information because it specifically defines which girl we are talking about. So it is a defining relative clause. On the other hand, if we remove the relative clause, who lives in New Delhi, the sentence still has the same meaning. My nephew is a civil engineer. The whole sentence is who lives in New Delhi. This is the total sentence. And if we remove the part who lives in New Delhi, and if we give just the sentence, my nephew is a civil engineer. So the relative clause who lives in New Delhi is extra information. It is a non-defining relative clause because it gives extra information. Even otherwise, the sentence has a complete meaning. My nephew is a civil engineer. It is understood. So these are all about the various relative clauses that are given in the text. Based on this, we have exercises which I will be doing in the next following unit or in the next following video class. For today's class, I will conclude with this. So for today's video class, we have completed the explanation of the given text in which we are talking about the relative clauses. And this is about Unit 9 of your text grammar. So thank you to all.